Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you're joining from, welcome to Open Source Friday, a GitHub sponsored program where we take a moment, more like an hour, to highlight the open source projects that fuel this amazing ecosystem we are very lucky to be a part of. I'm Andrea Griffiths, a la Colombia dev and all the things. And it's my absolute pleasure to be here with you today. Today, I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about into some of my favorite things. We're going to be talking about Kubernetes tools. And our guest is actually someone who I've had the joy of meeting in real life, which doesn't happen very often in tech. Sometimes we have our internet friends remain internet friends, but I actually had the pleasure of meeting Fred at CDC last year, I think is what it was. Or it might have been ATO. I don't know. I'll let Fred correct me. All this conference during the fall, I feel like they're just going through one giant stream. But I hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful Friday. I love to hear where you're joining us from. Thank you, everyone coming from Indonesia, all the way from Indonesia. That is awesome. Welcome. Welcome, Johannes from Ethiopia. Welcome, Mateus from Brazil. Obrigada. So happy to see everyone joining. So we're going to have an hour of getting to know this project, getting to know Fred, have a little fun. And then today, I actually want to do something a little bit different. I think we're going to do a giveaway. So why not? It's Friday. We should be having some fun around here. So I think it's time for a GitHub hoodie to go to this beautiful community who's joining us here on Open Source Friday. So we're going to make that happen. Thanks again for joining. Our guest today, it's Frédéric Harper. And I'm going to do a bit of bio touch-up here just to make sure that I don't miss any of his incredible accomplishments. But he is the principal developer advocate at Kubefirst, helping developers and DevOps be successful with their Kubernetes journey. Fred's shared his passion for technology on the stage of, wow, that's a big word, Fred, multitudinous events. Here we go. I did it around the world. He's helped build successful and healthy communities at NPM, Mozilla, Microsoft, DigitalOcean, and Fitbit. He is also an author. He's written a book about personal branding for developers. We're going to need to find a link to that and make sure we share it here with all of you. A lot of times we don't think about it's important. We got to have our own brand out there in the world. Besides being an amazing human being, and behind this extrovert is a very passionate individual who believes in the power of communication and cat videos. So, I mean, what else is there to say except welcome, Fred. Let's welcome Fred with like a super warm virtual hug. I don't know how we do it. Do it with stars? We do it with emojis. What do we do? Welcome.
That was an amazing introduction. And I need to say, like, the fact that you said that I'm a amazing human being is not in my bio, so I did not write it myself. So it's a nicer. Thanks. And you're right. We met in person at CDC. It was in Punta Cana, I think, which is like pretty amazing conference. And with a really nice venue too. Like great content, nice venue. But yeah, so excited to be here. Thanks for having me. And yeah, let's have fun. It's Friday.
Awesome. Well, yes. And while actually, coincidentally, I have to give a shout out to Microsoft, the sponsor and organizer of CDC, and this year actually CodeCamp ZQ, where GitHub will be at this next weekend. So we'll be there on Saturday, October 21st, and we have some really awesome goodies. One of my colleagues is coming, Luis Pujols, who's a customer success manager. He's going to be giving an amazing talk. And then also Luis Sanchez from Education is coming. So it's going to be a little bit of a party. Everyone come join if you have an opportunity to join CodeCamp ZQ. The conferences that are in Dominican Republic are super special. The content is incredible, like Fred mentioned. So just had to give that quick shout out because coincidentally enough, I think you got this mug too, Fred, because this was the speaker gift.
I have it. And now I have a big FOMO because I'm not going to be able to attend our stage this year. So, but yeah, it's worth it. You know, people were like, oh, you go in Punta Cana and like you go just for the location. And I'm like, I don't know. I've never been. And I went to the conference and was like, no, obviously, yeah, like the venue is nice, the location is nice, but the content is top tier when it comes to conferences. So happy for GitHub for sponsoring and encouraging an incredible conference like this.
Oh, well, wonderful. And thank you. I have to thank the Mixoff guys for obviously extending an invitation to us and allowing us to be a part of this awesome event. So, Fred, you are now at Kubefirst. I've left let's go ahead and scroll this little banner again because I would like to ask everyone who's joining us right now to just go ahead and take a little
Yeah.
quickly ride into this repo and drop a star. I believe in the power of our Stroud opening here because we've done it before, folks. We have taken people to new star heights on Open Source Friday. So I'd love for everyone to take a moment, visit this repo, leave it a star, and then we're going to get to know what it is that this project does. But first,
That's amazing.
Oh, Fred, better. First of all, Fred, I have some questions that I ask my guests. But I have to ask you about this giant cat behind you.
I know. That's like
Let's
people
go through the cat first.
people that have meeting with me, they do not care about me. They just care about the painting behind me. It's an amazing painting that acquaintance of mine did. You know, she's traveling around the world doing those like big animal mural that are just amazing. And during COVID, she was not traveling. I was like, you know what? I had to let go my cat, which like I lived with that cat for like 14 or 16 years. And I was really sad and was like, I want a way to like commemorate her life. And I asked her, and she did that painting. And like, except I don't know if you see on the camera, probably there is a little bit of blue because it's her signature. So my cat obviously was not blue, but like everything else is so realistic that like when I received that, like I cried. I was like, that's so beautiful. That's a good way to, I'm a crazy cat man. So that was a good way for me to like, just, you know, have a way to remember my cat. But the painting was just amazing. So that's
It's so boss.
what you have. It's there. It's an amazing piece of art. And if we're lucky, we may have live cats that may join us during the live stream. Now I don't know where they are, but like once in a while, when they hear me speak, they're like, "Hey, what's happening here?" And they join, and they join the live stream. So yeah, keep a look behind me. Let me comment.
Thank you for the background. We got a cat fan. Hey, Everton, thank you. It's a cute cat. Appreciate it. It's awesome. So we're going to be talking, and if you're just joining, you're joining Open Source Friday. This is a GitHub sponsored stream we do every Friday where we take a time to celebrate maintainership, maintainers, contributors, and open source software. Today, we have Kubefirst on deck. We're going to be talking to Fred, who is the principal developer advocate at Kubefirst. So before we get started into what Kubefirst is, I want to know how you got there. I know that you only been in the company for a few months now.
Yeah, it's about 10, 11 months. So I think it's 11 months. So it's going to be a year soon. Which is good. Like they can live with me, and I think they still want me to work there. So I think it's going great.
It's going great. It's going great. I have to say, because I think as developer advocacy as a career and working with communities is very taxing, and it's extremely taxing, especially when you're promoting or talking or deep into a product that you don't necessarily have a lot of faith or belief or love, what have you. I've seen your streams. I can tell you're pumped about Kubefirst. I can tell you're pumped about the tech. So I want to know a little bit about what drew you to this company and this project in particular. Have you always been in Kubernetes tools, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so I used to, like, Kubernetes used to be one of my focus when I was working at DigitalOcean. So it was kind of like a tool that I really liked. But when I was looking for a job, so I lost my job like beginning of summer last year. I took a couple of months off, and there was a developer relation Slack community really active, and I was like, you know what? Time for me to find a new challenge. And Kelly was managing DevRel at KubeShop, which is the parent company of Kubefirst. She contacted me and she was like, hey, would you like to talk about us? I'm looking for a DevRel person for the Kubefirst project. And that was like a good timing and certainly a match made in heaven, because I tried a project. And because, before even like having a discussion, I want to just learn a little more about the project, because for me and my role, I think it's important that I like the project, I see potential, and I can be passionate about it. So I tried a project and I was like, damn, that's solving most of the issues that I think people starting to use Kubernetes, or even people with experience with Kubernetes, are having. Like, creating a new cluster is easy. It's everything after that is a little more difficult. And Kubefirst was a tool that made me have like a production-ready cluster with all the tools all working together in minutes. And I was amazed by the technology. I obviously went to the interviews and I was just like, oh my God, the founders are like really amazing people that I could interact with, because for me, the personality is also nearly as important as the project, because I'm going to work with them. I'm going to do work with them. I'm going to request stuff from them to be successful. So yeah, great folks, great project, a challenge also. Because that was a new project, not really starting to be open source, is starting to be known a little bit, but like a lot of work in the developer relations space to do also. So yeah, and now it's been 10 months. We've done a lot of things together, continue to do those, and it's going well. Having a blast, which is important. We spend so much time at work.
You bet. Super psyched for you. So happy that it's been a great fit. And also, hey, folks, that was a free piece of career advice there from Fred. Before you interview or apply for a project, try it out. Go ahead and get your hands dirty and fork the repo, get to work with it, figure it out if it's something that you're actually excited about. Why not? All right,
you need to do that, and I know it's taxing because you probably apply not just to one place, but like it's so important, and that's going to be valued when you go into your interview process, that you know at least a little bit about the company and the project. Like people wants to, like the interviewer, they wants to know that you care just enough that like you're a potential good employee. So.
Yeah, for sure. So there you have it. If you're looking for a role, go ahead and test out the project. And lucky for you, open source is there for you, and it's free.
Yes.
So you can have a stab at it. All right. So let's talk a little bit about coordinated tooling. Let's talk a little bit about Kubefirst. Like, you shared a bit about why you thought it was cool. What problem is it solving for developers? Yes, it's easy to set up a cluster. Then tell me why, after I set up my clusters, like, why am I freaking out? Why am I panicking? And how is Kubefirst going to help me?
Yeah, so when you set up your cluster first, you create a new cluster without Kubefirst or without any other tools that help you. You have a beautiful, it's running, it's there. You have your cluster, but now you probably need something to like manage your CD pipeline. So you may install Flux or Go CD, or you need something to manage your secret. So you may think about HashiCorp Vaults, and maybe you want to do infrastructure as code. So you're gonna want to install or use Terraform or even Atlantis. And on top of that, if you want to respect the GitOps principle, you're going to need to create a new GitOps repository and like put everything in code there. So there is a lot of things to do, a lot of things to put together, and like having them work together. So again, you're productive. And like if you start with Kubefirst, Kubernetes, it's overwhelming. And even if you have experience and you've done this before, if you go to a new job, if you go to a new project, most of the time you need to restart all that setup, all that installation, putting things working together. So if you're experienced, it may take you a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months. And if you're starting, it takes a lot more time. So what Kubefirst solved is that with either one command in the command line, or you can use also our UI installation, you get what I call a production-ready cluster. So you get a cluster with all the technology that I just named. So Argo CD is installed for you. You get HashiCorp Terraform, HashiCorp Vault. You got Atlantis. You got Cert Manager. You got like all the tools. It's an opinionated platform, but you got all the tools that we think you need to be successful. And on top of that, we are a GitOps shop. So what we do is we create a GitOps repository with all the infrastructure as code, all the application, the YAML file is all installed for your cluster, and it's yours to manage. So you get your GitHub repository and you do whatever you have to do with it. And it takes about, like, if you do it locally with K3D, it takes about like 7 minutes. If you do it on like Civo, about 8 minutes. If you do it on AWS, about 25 minutes. But you know what? As much as I love the cloud, sometimes like just finding where to do things in the AWS console can take you as much time as just like running one command and having your cluster that then create like everything you need, your AKS cluster and like everything you need to run on AWS. So it's a tool that helps you to do that, and it's open source, which is like wonderful for me.
Awesome. I love this. So when was Kubefirst founded? Like, when did this first ship?
That was founded, that's a good question. I never remember. I think it was founded about 3 years. Actually, the founder worked on that project on their spare time, like weekend, evening, and probably nights, knowing them. They worked for it for a while before they decided to go a little more public with it. And a year ago, we got, a little more than a year ago now, probably like a year and a half ago, we got acquired by Cube Shop. So about at that time, they decided to go open source with the project. So it's a project that the two founders are working on for, I think, at least 3 years. But
Wow.
like with a team and with some more resources in the last a little bit like year and a half-ish when we joined CubeShop.
I love it. And you have a pretty solid community. Like, how are folks working on the project now? I think when I asked you earlier for some of the links, one of the links that you shared maybe was to a Slack channel. Is this how folks are collaborating? Like, would you tell me a little bit about the community and like what, as a community person, if I am interested in this and I care about application delivery, infrastructure management, I care about making my life post Kubernetes clusters easier, like how can I get involved?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways. So we always promote our Slack community because this is where you can really get in touch with us. Obviously, you can create GitHub issues, but like if you want to have a live discussion, it's on our Slack community. And what I really love is that we started that a couple of months ago, and now we reach a point where we have like a lively community where it's not just us anymore, like answering questions, it's other member of the community. So we have what I call those virtual evangelists that are just passionate about the product and wants to help other people. So that's fantastic. But the other thing I really love, and I know most companies said that, they say like they're social and they're approachable, but it's not always true. And I firmly believe that it's true for Kubefirst. So you go in the Slack community, we're going to listen to you. We're going to have coffee chat with you in a Zoom meeting if you want. We're going to help you. And the thing, though, is that the community, yes, it's centric about our project, but it's also a cloud native community. So if you have any question with some of the tools we're using in Kubefirst, even if you don't use Kubefirst, you have questions about communities, you're starting to think about GitOps, we have channels that are generic, that are not specific to Kubefirst. And you know what?
Nice.
We're going to be more than happy to help you, even if you're not using our product, because this is the kind of people we are. We have that expertise, we have that experience. Why not share it with other people? So that's a great place. Joining Consei. And again, if you just want to talk about like cloud native or have a question, we're going to be more than happy to help you.
I am super stoked for that. These projects that are community first, I feel like not only set themselves up to be very successful, but also empowering folks to like learn and grow together. And that's my jam too. So I appreciate that. And I back up that guarantee that it's if you're in it, it's a lovely community and it's friendly folks.
Oh.
So I back up, I give it the stamp. Awesome. So I do want to take a look at, if you could demo it for us, that'd be awesome. But we do have a quick question from, pardon me, Shula, if I'm completely mispronouncing your name, but there's a question for you, Fred, about the GCP integration being in beta. If you have any timelines, folks come here with the questions. They want to know what your roadmap looks like. So
that's perfect. So right now we have like support for Key3D, which is the local installation, Civo and AWS. And in beta, we have DigitalOcean, Vultr, and GCP. Right now, we are like 100% focusing on the next release that should go out by the end of next week, let's say Friday. I know we should not release on Friday, but we're probably going to do it.
Especially the 13th, why not? What could possibly go wrong?
It's not going to happen today, at least. It's going to happen next week. But like, yeah, we're not doing this on a Friday 13th. Like, it's bad. And what was funny about that date, sorry, I'm just diverging, but like someone was a snow blower, not a snow blower, a leaf blower outside, and it was making even the noise that like, you know, Jason was trying to like kill someone. Anyway, so going back to the original question, sorry about that, ADHD brain. I don't have a timeline, but it's close to be able to be moved out of beta. So now we're focusing on the 2.3 release, which is going to have multi-cluster support. And right after that, and I'm saying this live, so now you can take my words. I know I said that on our own live stream, but we had other things on our plate. But like, we're going to focus on trying to get the clouds out of beta. So they're really close to be out of beta. So I cannot give you a specific timelines, because like, the beauty of Kubefirst is that it makes the experience easy for people, but the platform we built is complex. I mean, it's easy for the users to use, but like, it's a complex platform because there is a lot of like pieces moving together. But hopefully, I really hope that's going to be soon. And to be honest, I'm the one asking the engineering team, like, you know what? I really want those like cloud of beta. So hopefully that's going to be soon. And with the 2.3 release, you should also be able to have like an okay experience on GCP. But we just keep them in beta because we don't want to put right now the Kubefirst seal of approval, because we have really high standard when it comes to quality of our platform. So super long answer to say like, I don't know, but soon, I hope.
It's coming, and when it comes, it's going to be up to the standards, which is amazing. So, but for now, you should be able to have support and using the beta. Give it a try. Thank you. We had another question about documentation for beginners, and I have shared Anush. Thank you for the question. I have shared the documentation link in the chat, so feel free to give it a click. Fred, show us your screen. I want to see this in action.
Awesome.
Let's see what we got here. And for everyone who's just joining while Fred gets set up, you're joining Open Source Friday. Today, we're talking all things Kubernetes tooling with Kubefirst and Fred. And now we're going to demo it, which is going to be fun.
Yeah, and just about the docs. Let me just move that to the screen. If there is something that is unclear in the docs, or you're not quite sure, please let me know. Again, on the Slack community, or create an issue. The docs are open source also. And check on our blogs too. I just wrote a tutorial not too long ago about like how to go through most of the main features of the platform using Key3D, which is a local installation, so you don't even have to pay for any cloud provider. So there's two ways that you can create your new cluster. One is using the CLI, and the other one is using the CLI to start the UI installation. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just start the process to create a new cluster. So you install the Kubefirst CLI with Homebrew, or there's other methods to do that. But like if you're on Mac, it's probably the easiest way. I'm going to use the Key3D, which is local Kubernetes experience. So you need Docker to run that. But like, again, that gives you the experience of the opportunity to try the platform without having to pay for a cloud. I'm creating a new cluster, defining the name. I need to pass my GitHub users, or actually I don't have to. I just do it because I have another installation somewhere, and I can decide my GitHub provider. So we support GitHub and another Git provider, and I'm not gonna name on that live stream, but like we support another one.
It's so, okay. Listen, whatever works for you.
GitLab. We support GitLab also.
Whatever works for you. This is Open Source Friday, so we're okay.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, we try to be platform-wise as agnostic as possible. So here I'm going to start a process, but I'm not going to wait for it because it's about 7 to 8 minutes. But I will come back after, and you're going to be able to see like all the steps. But what's happening right now is that it's taking GitOps templates that we use to create your GitOps repository, installing all the tools. And previous to the live stream, I created another management cluster on Civo. And
I think this is a screen. We might be seeing the screen with just the services overview. So we might
exactly.
That's the one you want us to see.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So as I said, I'm not going to show you all the process of like creating the cluster because it takes 7 to 5 minutes, and it's going to be like just text in the terminal. So as much as I'm excited about it, like people may not be. So oh, you were not seeing my my terminal before. Is it what you're saying? Yeah. I'm not sharing the right screen level.
Yeah, and thanks a lot, David, for or David Garcia Gonzalez for the shout out.
Yeah, good call.
Like I see you're doing stuff, but we don't see anything moving on the screen.
You know, technology is hard.
Of course it is, and live demos are always just kind of juicy.
So now you see my terminal. If I switch, okay, sorry about that. You see now my password, which is not a good screen. Okay, so I was in the terminal. I run that command here. This is what I was explaining, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it because now it's creating a cluster. It goes through all the steps. It takes about 7 minutes to create that cluster, and I will tell you why. So before the live stream, this is the other screen that I wanted to show. Once the cluster is created. So before the live stream, I create a cluster on Civo. And once it's created, you're going to have that console application that we use to either create a new cluster with the UI installation, or having access to all your services. So I run that command before, and I said, now I want to create a new Kubernetes cluster on Civo. Took me about 10 minutes on Civo. It's a little bit longer, but it's shorter than other cloud provider like AWS. And I end up with that console application that show me all the service. So you see now I have Vault install, I have Argo CD, Argo workflow, I have Atlantis, and I have Metaphor. Metaphor is just like a homemade application that is an example to show you how the platform is working. So we installed this by default, but you can remove it if you don't want to. And the other thing that we added recently is that we have a GitOps catalog. So let me go back to it after. Actually, I'm going to show you the GitOps repository. So if I click here, I'm going to go in my GitOps repository. So this is the repository that was created when I run the command to create a new cluster. And I want to show just a little bit maybe the structure of it. So I have this place Terraform here, and I have Terraform information about Civo. So if I go there, I have a Terraform file, and you're going to see all the information about the infrastructure that was created for me on Civo. Because as a reminder, Kubefirst, it's a GitOps platform. So everything that we needed to create your cluster will end up in the GitOps repository. So if you don't like the size of the cluster that we created for you, you change it in Terraform, and you're good to go. Same things that you can also manage your users actually within the platform. So again, using Terraform. So if I go, actually, I'm not in the right, yeah, I'm the right file. If I go on developers here, so we create two user group for you, admin and developer. So when you start, you have a KBot user administrator, and I can go here and I can say, okay, if I uncomment that, or you can like just create your own module for you. And I should have used the shortcut. Take longer, it's longer. But like if I uncomment it, I'm going to use Terraform to create a new user. So I can shoot right that. Sir, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a pull request first, because you should probably never commit directly on your repo. I don't like that. But did I create a pull request? No, I did not. I create a branch. So I'm going to create a pull request for the only reasons that because we're doing GitOps, we want things to be somewhere in history. We want to see like having someone approving the process, but also we want to use Atlantis. So instead of using Terraform on my CLI, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to wait for Terraform and Atlantis to formulate a plan. So what needs to be done on my platform to have that new user head. And once I have Atlantis, take a second now. There we go. I have a plan here that show me what's going to happen. So what's Terraform's going to do when I'm going to apply that plan. And if I go here, let's say that Andrea review it and she said like it's good, Fred. So I'm going to do Atlantis, apply. And that's going to run Terraform for me. So the reasons I'm doing that instead of like using the CLI for me, like on my computer, is that I have a trace, I have history inside my GitOps repo. Someone should have approved this, and the plan's going to be run. So we know that the plan's going to be run and it's going to be successful or not. So in my case, it said like, yeah, the plan was run, it was successful, the change was merged, they deleted the branch, and that's the way where you can manage your users. But if I go in Vault, and I checked on Vault just to be sure. So Vault is how we manage your secret. So let me just go here and get my, no, I don't see it broken. Oh, I'm not on the right.
It's okay. Take your time. We had some comments about your terminal being pretty, so folks like your.
yeah. I like my my terminal. So Kubens actually. I'm gonna switch back to Kubefirst Fred, and I should get my password, which everybody can use now, but it's okay. I'm gonna tear down this one after. So if I sign in here, I go to users. I should have soon my developer one user. So it may take sometimes for it to show. But anyway, let me show you other features. So you can manage your users. You can manage your repository, also repository that are related to your project. But because it's GitOps, you can add your application. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go back to my GitOps repo. So everything's happening in a GitOps repo. And I have our Go CD that is installed. So our Go CD is my CD pipeline. It will pull sync with the GitOps repository, which is my source of truth. I think we set up to every 3 minutes by default is going to pull the information from my GitOps repo. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go in registry Kubefirst Fred, and we use the apps of apps pattern. Here, I'm going to add a new YAML file. I'm going to call flatpkarray.yaml, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. Because I don't want to type all that, but I have the definition from my application, which is a little game called Flappy Array, which is like Flappy Birds, but like with our logo. And I have also my ingress controller definition here. So I'm going to commit my change this time directly on the repo. Don't do this at home. But for demo's sake, I'm going to do that. And if I go back to Argo CD and I check the registry here, if I force a sync, you should see, there we go. Now it's syncing. You're going to see Flappy Query. I don't know if it's big enough. Well, maybe that's too big now, but you're going to see Flappy Query is now deploying because Argo CD checked the information from my GitOps repository, saw that like it was not in sync, and saw that like I had the new resources. So there's the application deploying right now, and we should have the ingress controller also deploying now. So the time that is deployed, let me just go back and get the URL where I should have that available. And in a minute or two, I should have that new application working on my cluster. So if I go back here, it is deploying right now. Let me just minimize this a little bit. It is syncing. And this is like what I'm doing right now. It's not an invention. It's like it's Argo CD working with the GitOps, but like we configure everything to work together. So it's still deploying.
It's cooking.
Oh,
no worries.
It was deployed. It was not refreshed. So it was deployed, and now I have my new application accessible here, and I can get that really. Obviously, that's a game. That's not something you probably want to put in production. Please don't laugh at me because I just made 3 points. But what you should see in Argo CD, I don't know why it's out of sync. But anyway, it worked. It's syncing. So what I did is I had my YAML file in my GitOps repo, and it was automatically deployed on my cluster. So that's another feature that works together because we create that cluster, and we had like Argo CD for you, configure it. We had Vault for you. We create that GitOps repo, and we had like Terraform Atlantis cert manager. So it's using Let's Encrypt with the ingress router. Also, we use Nginx ingress controller for all the clouds, and another technology for Key3D. So that's kind of like the platform you get out of the bat, but also we have what we call the GitOps catalog, because sometimes it's just easier to click on a button than like going into GitOps repo and doing everything for yourself. So in that example, we just had a live stream with Kubernetes yesterday. It's a CNCF project. It's open source. It's really amazing for policy engine. If like it install here, that's going to basically do the same thing that I just did. So in like a second or a minute, if I go on my registry here, the name of my cluster, I see Kubernetes is there. So basically the GitOps catalog install the application for me, like put the YAML file, the proper YAML file for me in my repository, and does exactly what I've done manually. And if I go in Argo CD, you're going to see that like when it's syncing, you're going to see that Kubernetes, it's way too big. You're going to see that Kubernetes should be starting to deploy, which is the case right now. So the GitOps catalog is kind of new. As you can see, you have access to a couple of default applications that we wanted to give you easy access how to install. Because the thing is that we could have so many applications to Kubefirst, but at the same time, we want to keep this footprint as small as possible. So we decided to put most of the application that you think you need right from the start. And after that, you can yourself configure. But the good thing is that the GitOps catalog, it is also open source. So if you go on github.com, Kubefirst GitOps catalog, you can also either create an issue for application that you think are missing, or do a PR and contribute and add an application to the GitOps catalog that you want to have in the GitOps catalog and you would like to install easily using the Kubefirst platform. So that's a really high level overview of the platform. But if we go back, oh, here we go, just in time. If I go back to the CLI here, so you see that like I created a new cluster. It went through all the step, of like forking the GitOps template, creating the right resources, creating the Key3D cluster, installing Argo CD, configuring Vault, creating users and everything. And you got that screen that gave you the information at the end. Don't get to attach that beautiful violet, or I'm not quite sure the color. I think I see the other day, it's like a dragonfly Blue, which is the real name, but like we're gonna change that.
Blurple.
Yeah, we're gonna change that in the next release. But that gave me the same console application that I had, but this one is running on my local computer, so on Docker. So if I go on Docker here, I'm going to see all the Key 3D like container that has been created for me. So it took about, I don't know, I talked a lot. I talked for maybe 7-8 minutes, and I created a local experience. So I have a Kubernetes cluster running locally in Key 3D with my other GitOps repository, which is available on this time on my username instead of my organization, and the same application that you have in a full-fledged like usual cloud like AWS, Civo, or Google GCP.
That's fantastic. So super seamless. I love the fact that you can add these integrations that you feel like, because it's open source, you can add them to the GitOps catalog. So if you do see something there that you think it should be in the box, right at the box, you can actually contribute to the project. I'm sure there is contribution guidelines on how to contribute to that on the documentation as well, which we will share again.
There is, and like everything else, like if there's something is not clear and it's missing, this is the only way we can improve. This is what I love with open source. Like something is not right, like either you contribute, either you create an issue, but like you have direct access to the person, and hopefully the company listen. But in our case, we do, and I'm the one managing the contribution guideline in the doc. So don't be afraid to contact me directly if there's something.
I love this. I love it so much. Since you joined, and what was the GitOps catalog? Is it catalog or marketplace? I can't remember exactly what.
It's we call it a catalog. It's kind of like a marketplace. The only thing is because it's like we are open source. We love open source. We want to promote open source products. So we wanted to make it open, and we thought that like the word marketplace would have like a connotation of like, oh, you need to.
It's like money, right? Like a transactional thing. Yeah.
We call it GitOps catalog, but I know Donna from our UX team won't like me to say that, but like it's a marketplace if we think about it. We just don't charge you for the catalog. It's accessible.
That's fantastic. That is so cool. So I really appreciate that, bringing those tools there and then having like the overall operational harmony, everything that you need. You don't even have to think about it. Starts the repo for you. You can see everything that's happened, everything that you've done is living right there in your Git history. So that's fantastic. I love this. I've shared the documentation link in the chat, in the Slack. Remember that Fred is actually in charge of accepting contributions. So hey, you shout out to Fred when you do your PR. And I wanted to ask you about Hacktoberfest. I don't know if you folks are doing anything specific for Hacktoberfest.
I was just going to say that. Our mind just, so actually, we're participating. The only thing is that I didn't attack too many issues for like Hacktoberfest or good for use, because as I said, to be able to participate and contribute to your project, you need to know like cloud native. You need to understand also a little more like how the tools are working together. So it's not always easy to contribute directly on the project. With that said, I've always been an advocate of like contribution is not just code contribution. So 100%. Like if there's something on the docs, if there's something anywhere, let me know. But like if you want to contribute to the code, let us know, and we're going to be more than happy to help you. So yeah, please, there is a Hacktoberfest label on the Kubefirst repo and also on the docs repo, but you don't have to limit yourself. Like if you want to take any other challenges, any other issues, or new features or bugs that we may have that are not solved, just leave a comment or ask me on Slack, and I'm going to help you, guide you to be sure you are going in the direction that we would like to go for the platform.
I appreciate that. So here, you hear it here first. There is going to be a Hacktoberfest opportunity for you to contribute to this project. I think having fresh eyes, run through this workflow, do what Fred just did live, and then go and look at the documentation. And if you find something that you think it can be, improved, get a bit different flavor, definitely go for it. We had a comment from a user in LinkedIn, and I'm sorry because we couldn't see your name. I think that's a StreamYard problem.
Yeah, that was a good comment.
But it was a really great comment. I appreciate it. I hope if you commented this, comment your name so that I can go ahead and give you the credit. But basically talking about bootstrapping, it sucks. Yeah, having to take the extra time to bundle all these things that you need to do before you even start actually doing your work. So super appreciated that you no longer have to, bother installing 10 different tools and 15 different clusters. Everything lives right there.
and the good thing is that it's your platform after. I mean, like you have the GitHub repo, you own it. It's in your username account or your organization. So if there's a tool that you want to have, you had it. If there's something missing, like please do that. And again, it's an opinionated platform. We kind of like decided the tool that we thought makes sense, but we're really open to discussion with people and see where the platform is going in the future. We just like to try to keep it on the low overhead side, because like there's so many tools we could have that would be useful for people, but like depending on your use case, how you use it in prod or even in dev. So it's why we created the GitOps catalog, and with the GitOps repo, it's easy for you to customize it once you have it created.
That's fantastic. All right, awesome. Well, folks, if you have any questions for Fred about the demo that you just watched, or any questions about Kubernetes tooling, specifically Kubefirst, and we do have one question. Let's go ahead and get through those, because I do want to ask Fred some other questions, get to know you a bit better too.
I know.
Something about best practices. Harish, this is actually the question. Are the tools configured with best practices, or is it upon the user to set them? Are we talking about best practices for permission security, or the type of tool that you're using? Or maybe you did grasp that question right away, Fred. So I'll just
it's a loaded question, because that could mean a lot of things. I would say yes, without being too pretentious. I would say overall we try to keep best practices when it comes to GitOps, when it comes to like managing Kubernetes cluster. Obviously, best practices means a lot of things for a lot of people, and can be for every part of the platform. Again, like always, if there's something that makes sense for you and we're not doing it, or you think it's a best practice, talk to us, because we may not even know about it. I don't know. There's so many like best practices out there. A thing that we were talking yesterday about maybe heading to the basic platform was Kyverno, as I was mentioning before, because it's a really good policy engine, and it's really great to run it on Kubefirst, and the default policies were returned mostly all green, which means that I think it means that we're doing a great job. So we have one or two things, things that we cannot fix because this is how the platform works, and another thing that we could fix. But overall, like we're always open for suggestions about best practices. But I would say yes, not knowing exactly what you were talking about when it comes to best practices.
There you go. So take it for a spin, Harish, and if you see something that you think can be tightened up, or there's something that might be that's missing, it sounds like Fred and team are super open to making this better with your help. So,
and this is so
awesome.
Great to being able to say that, because I've said that at other employers, and without casting any shadow, it was not always easy to bring that feedback. But like I work daily with the engineering team. We're a small team. They're doing miracles with the platform, and I'm always like, hey, you know what? That would be nice to have this, or like, hey, one user suggested that, and they're always happy about it. Sometimes the answer is going to be like, not right now, which I understand, but it's a pleasure to work with an engineering team like that really listen to the users, which makes my life easier also as a developer advocate.
You love that. I love to hear it. Awesome. Thank you, Narish, for this comment about making, instead of breaking your head in config. Yeah, I think everyone feels the pains here. Everyone is like really relating at a core level. Like, this is really nice to not be able to have to bother thinking about these things, because they're already there and they're set for you. So.
Yeah, and one thing I did in demo that I should probably have is like right after I created my cluster, I can run, in my case, I created a key3d cluster. I can run Kubefirst key3d destroy, and in like 2 minutes, my cluster would be destroyed. So if you
awesome.
Like if something goes wrong, if you just want to try, if you just want to learn about the tools, it's what is nice that you can create a cluster like this and destroy it like this, and it's fast. So you can try it. You can try different configuration. And head application doesn't work. Instead of like being lost with a cluster that you don't want to destroy because it took you forever to do it, like you do it, recreate it, and you're good to go.
Amazing. So that's a perfect like lowering that barrier to entry for folks that are maybe working with Kubernetes, and it's a bit confusing right now. So you can actually lean onto this tool to help you not be so attached. All right, I love that. Thank you so much for everyone that's joined and for all your amazing questions. If you have any more questions about Kubefirst, drop them in the chat. If you, after this live, decide, you know what, I want to give it a try, take it for a spin, in the chat, I also posted a link to the Slack channel. Looks like there's a ton of folks there that are like super eager and willing and nice that will help you, get started. And if you're here because it's October and you're interested in open source, there's opportunities, and I'm gonna do a search with the label applied to it so you can see what the Hacktoberfest things are that you could possibly work with for Kubefirst. So
Yeah.
that is awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. That was a really awesome demo. I appreciated that, Fred. Thank you. You showed us all the fun stuff, including your beautiful terminal. So thank you.
I know.
Thank you
I
for
know.
sharing a bit about how the community can get started. We know we can join your Slack. We can go on GitHub, and I encourage everyone to go on GitHub now and leave a star to Kubefirst, please. And then take it for a spin. Documentation, pull requests are welcome. So if you see an improvement
Yes.
to processes there in the way that Bert explained, Fred will be the person reviewing it, and you heard
I
it here.
will.
There you go. So
And I'm
definitely
difficult
take.
when I'm reviewing.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a cat behind you reviewing when the review.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
But no, super appreciate your time and that very, very comprehensive demo. I'm so excited that this is now something that's out in the open and for folks to take for a spin and give it a go. If you have any remaining questions, Fred, you're in social. Where can we find you? I think I've
At
shared your Twitter earlier.
Twitter, I spending way too much time there. I'm a F Harper, so the at F Harper. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on our Slack community, obviously, and you know what? I'm also offering, and not just me, like I'm offering personally free coffee chat. So if you want like a 30 minutes to discuss like cloud native or whatever you want to discuss with me, I'm happy to do that. But we also offer like Kubefirst office hours, which is
Love
me and
that.
John and Jared, the two founders of the project. That also it's free if you want to talk about Kubefirst or anything else. So I know I saw a lot of questions. We have like a limit of time. Like we could talk for all the afternoon, but I doubt that like it's the plan. But like, yeah, remaining question, come on our Slack community, ask me on Twitter, ask our Twitter account. Like, we're gonna get back to you for sure. And if I don't have the answer, because I don't have all the answers, my co-founders have all the answers, which is like annoying
Awesome.
sometimes. They're so good at that, but like I always have someone who I can go back and bring you the answer if I don't have it.
I appreciate that, folks. I would take up Fred on this coffee chat time offer because it's not every day to get someone with your level of experience at the principal developer advocate level, opening up your agenda for folks to talk. So if you want to talk cloud native, if you want to talk developer advocacy, if you want to talk Kubefirst, go ahead and give Fred a ping. All right, let's ask you some fun questions and then we're gonna let you go so
Wonderful.
You can go on with your Friday. I have to ask because this is when we date ourselves, Fred. What's the first programming language that you ever learned?
I think it was like C++, like 25 years ago. I'm so old now that I'm thinking about it. And I was so impressed. I remember it was like, I just print hello world on like anybody does, like just print hello world on the screen. And I was like, talking about it, I have a goosebump. Like I was so impressed, and I was like, "Damn, that's good. I'm in the right place. Like I can
You're
create
like,
stuff on
I'm
the
a
computer.
developer.
I am a developer, and I printed LOL on the screen. But like, I have goosebumps when I think about it. Yeah, that was in Turbo C++. I think it was like a blue
Yeah.
screen, like really not super exciting, and we didn't have like all the features we have right now to debug and stuff. But yeah, super
What a
long
time,
answer to say like
right?
C++, which I never really used after. Like I just learned about it when I was doing like more traditional school, and I never really used it after. So
I love this. Check this out. Basic on a Sinclair 1000.
okay, I'm not that old then.
This is amazing. And Fabrizio is also coming in like, yeah, me too, me too. I love to learn what is everyone's first programming language. Not your first love, but your first programming language. And it could be your first programming language love too, but here we got it, C++. Let's see. What is your favorite song of all time?
That's a really good question. I think it's Flagpole Sita by, but like sang by Harvey Danger.
Wow, this sounds very super cool. So I have no idea what this, but
You
we'll
need
look
to
it
listen
up.
to that. It's like it's so energetic, like as a song, and I just love it. And it's a little bit crazy too. Like it's just a crazy story with like so much energy. I liked it. Actually, like Spotify every year they give you like your top 100 songs
Yeah,
or
your
whatever,
wrap up
it's
thing.
always, yeah, it's always the number one song because I listen to it like every time I need like an energy boost. It's just my song. And this is also one of the songs I sing in karaoke's, which I'm really bad at. I sing really badly, but like I know the lyrics, so it goes well for me, I guess.
Listen, that is a good one, and I'm definitely gonna look it up. I'm gonna need you to DM me that link too. I don't want to get copyright infringed here, but DM me the link,
Yeah.
please, so I can have a burst of energy this afternoon.
Wonderful.
All right,
Oh,
and
Visual Basic.
then I mean, we're taking it places here, which I appreciate. All right, and then final question, and I think this is something that if you have spent any time with Fred, around Fred, or watched this stream, you can see that it just oozes out of him. What is your favorite thing about open source?
It's the God, one thing, only one thing. I
I
would
know,
say,
I'm sorry.
okay. Let's say the community, because I'm a people person. The community that we build around. It's not always easy. Let's be honest, and not everybody's welcoming. But I try to be positive. I think most projects welcome people. So obviously, I could have said like the fact that like it's open. You have access to the code. You can contribute. You can make it your own. But like the community is really what I think is important, because you can be a company, put your code out there, but like if you're not like letting people participate, if you're just put it like open for the sake of like saying you're open source, but like you don't foster community, a healthy community, you don't work with people, you don't listen to people, I don't think, personally, I'm going to be rude, I don't think it's open source. I think open source need to have like a community, a people centric component to it. So that's the favorite thing for me. And it's so
100%.
beneficial.
100%.
Yeah.
Some people do it for the art of it, right? Some other people do it for every single one of you who's joining here today. That is, I think, is a privilege that we all get to be part of this and use it and make it better and make it our own.
Yeah.
And what a time, let me tell you. We live in extraordinary times. You don't even have to worry about your Kubernetes tooling. Like, you don't even have to worry about that. Now all you gotta do is just create your cluster, and everything else is done by Kubefirst for you. So we live in fantastic times. Fred, it's been so fun to talk to you today.
Pleasure was
super
mine.
Appreciate your time. I have to drop one more comment here because we took it back even a little bit. I think this is probably before the Sinclair 1000.
Sinclair.
Basically, Sinclair CX80. Hans, you're definitely throwing it back here. I appreciate that. I love it.
Thanks,
I
Hans.
love it. Thank you for throwing it back here. Thank you for joining us today. Please do not forget to go by Kubefirst repo. I want to see some start action. I think that we can do it. I am going to, at very random, and we've run out of time, so I won't do it live, but at very random, I'm going to scroll through your amazing comments here. It's going to be one of this, and where the finger lands, you win a hoodie. So I will DM you in whatever platform you're joining us from, so you can get your GitHub hoodie. Fred, it's been so great to see you. Thank you. Thanks for tell me, where are you going to be next month? Is there going to be like a conference or something you're going to, or are you going to be speaking somewhere?
Actually, we're a little bit like on the low side when it comes to conferences. Like there's a lot of things to do, but we're going to be at KubeCon. So if you are in the cloud native space, we're going to have a booth there. Unfortunately, I don't have the booth number with me, but like ping me, I will let you know. I'm going to be more than happy to discuss with again about Kubefirst or anything else, or go for a coffee or drinks with you. Like just come see me at the booth if you're there, and it's in Chicago. It's going to be a good time. And now I'm going to add the comments to the YouTube because I want to win a hoodie. So I'm going to try it now.
Oh, Fred. Next time I see you, I'll bring you one. Oh, yeah. But definitely drop your comments on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitch, whatever you're joining from, on either Fred's platforms or ours. And we will see you next time for the next Open Source Friday. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you have not yet, join our meetup group, meetup.com/GitHub, so that you can, .com/GitHub, so that you can stay on top of who's going to be here next. I think we're going to be in a brief break next weekend because I will be at CodeCamp SDQ with all of you amazing Dominican Republic folks. So we'll be there. But then the following week, I have the absolute honor, and I die saying this, we're going to have Quincy Larson on. If you know who Quincy Larson is, Google it. Because the man literally changed the way that people learn how to code. And I think most of us have made our way through Free Code Camp at one point or another in our lives. So we'll see you on the 27th for that. And stay amazing. Thank you for being with us, Fred. I will share the rest of the links and the winner in a bit. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Friday.
I see you too.
All right,
Bye, everyone.
bye.